What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 6 of our Eastside Hockey Manager Early Access Let's Play here with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And today, well, it's December the 13th and we've played another 10 games, so we're going to get into them. Today I am going to be live coming the game against the Red Wings. I've kind of been, researching the Leafs, learning more about them. I've come to appreciate that this rivalry is a fairly big historic one and that I should do a game against the Red Wings this season. I have already played them a number of times. You can see here we beat them 5-3. This was in November. We also lost to them 4-3 in this month too, and then the month before we actually played them another 2 times. So I believe this might even be the last time we play them. Someone can obviously correct me if I'm wrong. Still learning kind of the fixture schedules and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 games a season against intra-divisional rivals. But anyway, before that, we have to look at the games since last episode. Last episode, of course, was the game against the Blackhawks. Good 5-3 win. Since then, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with how we're going about things. We've stepped things up from the previous last 10 games, found a little bit more form, found a little bit more balance, perhaps, and that was whilst coping with some injuries to some key players. So anyway, the first result was a 2-3 or 2-5 defeat to the the Predators. Still learning my team names, but you can see here we actually went 2-0 up in this before just collapsing throughout the second and third. It was painful. In terms of the actual game stats, it was a game which we probably didn't deserve to win, if I'm honest, but to be 2 ahead in the first and then to throw it away was a little bit disappointing. Moving on from that, however, we did get a good win against the Lightning. You can see here 5-4 at home. A tight game, this one. It really was tight. It was 2-2 going into the third period. It really sprung into life. We pulled away, as you can see here, Panic, Kessel, Van Riemsdyk all getting on the kind of score sheet. In the end, they did make a late little resurgence, however, we held on for the win. We then played the Red Wings, who of course we're playing today. 5-3 win this one, a really good performance again. We seem to have a real issue keeping other teams out, but as long as we're outscoring other teams, I can't complain too much. Obviously, our main strength really is our forwards. We've got rid of, Phaneuf, or... Phaneuf. And we lost one of our big defensemen there. So I always knew we were going to be conceding more goals, and the best kind of form of defence was just to attack as much as possible. That's worked for us. So we got a defeat there against the Sabres, but we did bounce back, beating the Penguins in a great game. We went 2-1 up in the first. We were 4-2 down by the end of the first. And, I mean, 6 scores in the first period's pretty uncommon. But from there, we showed real character to fight back in the second to 4-3. And then in the third, we completed the turnaround. Lindstrom doing some work for us, the 31-year-old. He's not a player who I've kind of bigged up at all, but he did some work for us, as you can see here. Third line talent, and he did what he needed to do there. Komarov as well doing well. So it was really our third line that won us this game, which was pretty pleasing, really, in the end. Anyway, moving on from that, another big win. This one against the Capitals, 7-4. Yeah, it was a great result. I can't really complain. This was also Nylander's senior debut for us. I decided to promote him to the squad from the Marlies just because I scouted all the players and he was obviously the one who was recommended the most that could be worth a call-up. And then I got a update from the AHL kind of, affiliate report where the game tells you and the manager of the affiliate team tells you who players you might be ready to play, and he reckoned that Nylander was ready to play in the second line, so we've been playing him there. He had a really good debut. He actually got 2 assists and a goal on his debut. Since then, not quite been so good, but you can see here during his time at the Marlies, in 18 games earlier this year, he got 4 goals and 9 assists, so I think he's ready. He's not 100% ready, but given the kind of revamp that's going on at the team, given the way that I'm looking to really, I guess, push on some young talent into the squad, I decided it was worth playing him. He is actually playing in our second line too, which is probably a little bit too high for him, but I want to maximise the amount of time he has on the ice. And despite some perhaps not so great performances lately, he's not single-handedly losing us games, and it's going to be essential for his development that he just gets as much time on the ice as possible. Anyway, the game following on from that Nylander debut was actually an uncharacteristic low-scoring game. The Stars grabbing a 2-1 win over us. Disappointing to lose at home, and we did that again here against the Devils. You can see they won 3-2. We were actually 2-1 up going into the third, and well, they turned things around is all you can really say. If we look at the stats for this one, I feel like this was quite a close game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was. We actually had a lot more shots blocked than them. Our power play percentage seems really low at the moment. I might talk about that in just a second. But, yeah, that was another disappointing one, I guess. Fortunately, the last 2 results in this last 10 have been 2 good ones. We got a 4-0 win against the Canucks. And the last result was here, and it was against the Flames, and we won 6-2 at home. So some really good results in there. All in all, we've kind of kept our form going of sorts. If we just look at it, you can see we're the 6th best team based on our last 10 games, which is pretty pleasing, and that's across all conferences. We are actually in 8th in the league at the moment. However, as you can see here, games played, we only played 30. There is a little bit of a cushion onto the teams behind us, but our conference is a bit weird because it feels like the teams in our division have a lot better records than the teams in the other division. If you just look at us here, we are in 5th in our division here with 37 points from 30. On the other side of our conference in the Metropolitan Division, Rangers are on 36. So basically, we're doing better than the third best team in the other division. But obviously, because of the way the league works, we have to accept the fact that we're in a trickier, perhaps slightly more competitive division. I have no idea if that's the case in real life. Maybe you guys can let me know. But we're doing okay. So I mentioned the power play percentage. It's only 14.4%. Really, that should be in the low 20s. Our penalty killing percentage as well isn't the best either. It's not even as if we have that to fall back onto. So that's a little bit perhaps concerning. But we are going strong. We've scored 118 so far in 30, which is, well, it's the most in the league if you discount the Canadians who have played 5 more games than us. If we look at player stats here, you can see Kessel is just, I don't even know how to describe this man. He's got 27 goals in 30 games and 24 assists, which, if I'm not mistaken, which I don't think I am, is a pretty unreal record. He has an average rating of 8.63. You can see his shooting conversion percentage is 18.6%, which is pretty impressive. He's had 10 penalty minutes and 147 shots on goal. So, Kessel, you are the man single-handedly carrying our team at the moment, and I salute you for it. Anyway, I'm going to show my tactics just so you guys can see what's going on. So, I did mention a few injuries earlier. There have been a few. If we look at Fowler here, he was the big injury kind of worry. He actually has had 3 injuries, I think, since the last episode. I'm trying to remember if the groin strain was included. Even if it wasn't, he has missed the last 3.5 weeks. And after that, of course, there's the kind of nursing time to get him back to full condition. But he's back now, which is good. Hopefully he won't get too many more injuries, because really this is our best defensive man. He's only 23, perhaps some potential to improve. And yeah, he's a player who's essential to our future, really, because with the way we're kind of playing this out, with the draft coming up and us having 4 first-round picks, I'm really looking, I guess, to try and, what's the word, hoard, I guess, a bit of a golden generation, and Cam Fowler's going to be a leader in that. He's going to be potentially one of the older players in the squad as I try to get in those younger players, especially into the leading lines. Anyway, there are a few other injuries, but to be honest, I cannot remember for the life of me exactly who they were to. All I know is that they were a massive pain in the arse. I think Reimsdyk might have had one. We can check this real quick. Yeah, he twisted his knee, so he was out for 6 days as well, which generally, if you're a Football Manager fan, doesn't sound that bad until you realise sometimes 6 days you can be playing 4 games, and at that point it really does start to add up. So anyway, let's have a look at my power play tactics, because as I mentioned, that's something that's not working for me at the moment. So I'll show them to you guys. You guys can let me know what you think. So in terms of our unit tactics, you can have a look at them here. This is how I'm lining up. It's actually a pretty standard style. Both my first and second line, I'm pretty sure, are just on the exact same setup. Third line, we want a more defensive kind of heavy pressing game where we're kind of, we don't want to let their players rest essentially on the ice, and we want to try and get the puck and get possession and then make the most of it hitting on the break. And then we have our fourth line tactic here, which is a bit of a kind of wear down the opposition, go out on the ice for 20 seconds, blitz them. Not the best skilled players, but some pretty fast players, as you can see by the speed, which kind of helps with that. So in terms of my power play tactics, this is what I've got at the moment. It's pretty standard, I think. So this is my 5v4-1. This is my 5v4-2. So 1 on barrage, 1 on heavy. I think the only other difference is creativity passing. having it on creative, heavy shooting, and then normal barrage. In terms of the 5v3, you can see here it's a similar pattern, if I do believe. So if you guys want to let me know what you think I should do differently, if you've got any suggestions, maybe you've been playing the game yourself, maybe you've worked out some secret formula that just works, I'd be interested to know a little bit more about that. But anyway, that's kind of what's been going on at the team. I'm trying to think if there's been any trades. Thank you to the guy who told me that I could just go to the trade kind of tab here. So actually there haven't been any trades since the last episode. I did look at potentially trying to get a few more first round picks to really just hoard an entire generation. One of the players I looked at potentially letting go was Reimer. I know in real life that the in NHL you'll swap out your in the NHL you'll swap out your goaltender a fair bit, and you know kind of rotate it. But the difference between Reimer and Bernier in game is just that vast. Combine that with the fact that really players don't actually get that tired if they're playing the goaltender position. It might be worth me just letting go of Reimer, maybe trying to get a decent first round pick for him. And then kind of just trying to pick up a younger goalie. I mean, I have some decent goalies and goaltenders in my side, but they are very young players like Gibson here. I mean, maybe he's a decent backup. Projected career roles backup. He's an okay player, but I don't know if he's adequate. Let me know what you think on that front. So anyway, I guess we'll get into today's game. It's a big one. It's against the Red Wings. We want to win. They want to win. If we just have a look at the NHL schedule, you can see here, if we find our game, their record is 17-12-4, whereas ours is 17-10-3. So it's two very similar records in some regards. They are actually ahead of us in the conference because they have played those 3 extra games, but they are only ahead of us by 1 point. So a win today would see us leapfrog them, so I'm hoping we can do that. But yeah, we'll see how we get on here. We're going to be playing on key highlights, standard action speed of normal, and we're going to be playing on the zoomed in view for you mobile viewers, because I know how much you guys cannot see a thing if you're watching on a smaller screen device with the alternative camera view. Anyway, we'll see how we get on here. Pretty boring first period, but we have possession of the puck. Can we make something of what we can? It's a save, but can we make it on the rebound? We can, and Nylander scores, the youngster, playing in the second line for us. Out on the right alongside Kadri and Panic, leading the line there. And actually doing some work for us, however. There is a face-off here, so taking a good early lead here. We are, of course, at home, so we need to make the most of that advantage. Get the fans behind us, and that early goal could, I guess, contribute to that. As we will come away from the face-off with the penalty. Now can we break? We can break, and Van Riemsdyk grabs another to make it 2-0. So I still haven't really worked out the formula for how to show highlights in this. I'd be interested to know, do you guys think I should just keep the highlights on key? Oh, go on. Go on, Nylander. Inside, what an assist. Kadri lights the lamp. That is all 3 of our second line getting on the score sheet. Very, very pleasing. But yeah, what I was about to say was, do you guys think that I should just keep the highlights on key where everything's a goal for these live comms? Or if the game's getting tight into the 3rd and 2nd, would you rather I go on extended and kind of, I guess, elongate the game further? Anyway, looking at the stats right now, we are dominating. Detroit, 6 shots in total. We have had, well, 28. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. Pass completion's better for us. Face-offs is 50-50, but we are winning slightly more board plays. We've not given away any penalties yet, but we haven't made the most of the 1 power play that we did have in our favour. So, a good first half. Well, very good. 3-0 up. Good as well to see Kadri and Nylander get on the score sheet, because they're going to be important plays for us, I feel, in the coming years. But anyway, Red Wings on the attack. A good save there by Bernier. Now can we win the face-off? It's going to be Lindstrom going for it. Our 3rd line out on the ice. I mentioned the fact that they do seem to get quite a lot for us going and kind of actually prove quite successful. I'm hoping that we're going to see a bit of that here, although the Red Wings have another face-off in our zone. Can we win it? We can't, and it comes away to Eriksson there. And will Detroit peg us back to make it 3-1 halfway through the 2nd? Can't really afford to switch off here, but another highlight incoming, I guess. Nylander down the right, threads through Panic, and that's another great goal, and Nylander actively involved again. I mentioned the fact that on his start, his first appearance, he kind of got a goal and 2 assists, and since then he hadn't done anything in the next 4. But really since then he's really proving himself here to kind of, I guess, what's the word, shut out the haters. There are no haters in the chat, just to be clear. The doubters, we'll call you doubters, the people who said perhaps he shouldn't be called up, because he's doing a job for us. But this is looking like a really, really impressive performance, and we're on the attack again. And is that Fowler? It is Fowler. That is an incredible goal for a defenseman to rifle in from range. Of course, my first ever kind of player I traded for, so good to see him coming good, especially after his period on the sideline with an injury. And, well, things are just going ridiculously well here. So we're on the attack again, and, well, we've scored again. That time Kessel adding to his scoring form, and it's 7-2. And we've dominated. We've absolutely dominated there. That is ridiculous. I did not expect that, especially after our perhaps slightly patchy form, but that is a great win. 7-2, again, just adding to our ridiculous goal-scoring record. It seems to be something that we are certainly not short of. And it sees us go up to 4th in the league, and it is really tight here. You can see from the Red Wings to us is separated by 1 point. So you've got 5 teams kind of all really kind of level pegging. So to get that win there is actually a massive win. If anyone would like to explain to me if 2 teams of the same division are on the same amount of points, how they are separated, that would be appreciated, because I don't actually know the answer to that at the moment. I guess it might be done on something like goals for, like in soccer or football, but I don't actually know the answers to that. But nevertheless, that is a very, very good performance, and I am a very, very happy bunny with that. Let's have a look at Nylander real quick. Just one little thing. I'm sure that there's going to be updates coming for this, but I don't know if there's any way to see a player's attribute progression. So in Football Manager, you can click on the attributes, and it will show like a little graph of how the attributes kind of value has ranged. But even if it was just a case of having the tick box for show recent attribute changes that there is in Football Manager, and it just shows a little green arrow next to attributes that have recently increased, I do feel like that would add a little bit to the game and certainly help from a youth development standpoint, because right now the only way I'm really discovering to keep track of my youngsters is just to screenshot them, which isn't the easiest thing in the world. And what would even be an even better thing is if you were able to snapshot players and then compare them to their past selves. So you could snapshot Nylander's page here and then compare to, and then it would have his name and then the season, or maybe just the date that you took the snapshot on, so you can compare players to their past self year on year. And maybe even an option for a team snapshot thing where you, at the start of every season, you have a look at every single attribute, and kind of you keep them all in a big catalogue, so you can check players year on year, and it just at the start of every year you have a snapshot of every single player that's kept on record. But anyway, that's just me offering needless input into what I'd like to see. I'd be interested to know actually if you guys have been playing EHM, what you'd like to see from what you've played of the early access so far. Of course, it is early days, certainly a work in progress, but I'm looking forward to seeing what can become of this. Riz has done a great job on EHM keeping it alive, and the next few months are certainly going to be exciting. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up from me. Massive thank you for watching if you've watched until this point. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. I should point out, over the weekend I'm actually away. I'm going to attempt to record some videos in advance to upload daily. Hopefully that won't be a problem and I'll get them all sorted. But on the off chance I don't, or if you're watching a video and it's like, well, why didn't he read my comment from the previous episode? I have had to kind of get a mini backlog going for you guys whilst I'm away. But anyway, I'm now rambling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.